O'clock, so let's get started. For the Waterloo Board of Adjustment regular meeting for Tuesday, January 26th. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, I will ask for approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the January 26, 2021 agenda.
Second.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. Okay, any additions or corrections to the December 29th minutes? I know we got the email from John to correct that one item on Maynard, South Halkett. Is there any other additions or corrections? Okay. So hearing or seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes subject to that one correction.
I move that we adopt the amended December 29th, 2020 minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have one decision item today. Request by, is it Aaron Hageman?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, for a variance to allow for an 8-foot privacy fence in the required front yard in an R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 718 Progress Avenue. Staff report.
This is Western with staff. The applicant is requesting to install an 8-foot privacy fence to the north of the property at the corner of Progress Avenue and Crossway Drive. The site is currently zoned R2 1 and 2 family residence district and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the ordinance. To the north is C2, to the east is C2, to the south is R2, and to the west is R2 as well. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area or its land uses. Traffic conditions, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on pedestrian or vehicular traffic conditions in the area, as there is ample visibility along both Crossway Drive and Progress Avenue. The proposed request would be in conformance with the classification of this area as low-density residential on the future land use map within the City of Waterloo Comprehensive Plan adopted February 3rd, 2003. The zoning ordinance prohibits a fence taller than 4 feet in a front yard in situations where a structure is addressed off the longer dimension street frontage, which is the case with this request. The front yard setback shall be met along the longer dimension street frontage and along the narrow dimension street frontage. The rear yard is opposite the front yard along the narrow dimension. The zoning ordinance notes for fencing on corner lots addressed from the longer dimension that no such fence shall exceed 4 feet in height in the front yard, nor exceed 8 feet in height in the rear yard and along the street side adjoining the rear yard, extending from the center of the house to the street line and back to the rear yard of the lot. The proposed fence would be located in the required front yard along the narrow dimension street frontage along Crossway Drive, but would not extend closer to the street than the existing home to the west at 3913 Crossway Drive, and that property owner has indicated support for the request. Criteria: lack of reasonable return. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return to the request if the variance is denied, as the fence can be constructed in a manner that is within the guidelines of the zoning ordinance. However, the fence does not appear to cause any site visibility issues for motorists traveling east on Crossway Drive or south on Progress Avenue and would not extend closer to the street than the existing home does to the west at 3913 Crossway Drive. Number 2, uniqueness. The site is on a corner lot with the house facing the long dimension street frontage, and the fence would not extend closer to the street than the existing home to the west does at 3913 Crossway Drive. Number 3, public consideration. Staff does not believe that the proposed request would have a negative impact on the surrounding area, as the fence does not appear to cause any site visibility issues for traffic traveling on Crossway Drive or Progress Avenue, and staff is not aware of any opposition to the request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Aaron Hegman for a variance to allow for an 8-foot privacy fence in the required front yard in a R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 718 Progress Avenue be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area. The fence does not appear to cause any site visibility issues for motorists traveling east on Crossway Drive or south on Progress Avenue. The fence would not extend closer to the street than the existing home to the west does at 3913 Crossway Drive. And lastly, staff has heard no objections to the request.
Okay. I just have one question, and I had to read this 3 or 4 times to really fully understand
Corner lots are confusing.
the frontage thing. But if that fence was built in the middle, started at the middle of the house rather than the front going north, we wouldn't have needed a variance, right?
Correct.
This is Schrader with staff. No, not on the narrow dimension street frontage. Anything between the house and the street on Crossway, since Crossway is the narrow dimension street frontage, that's the required front yard, and no fence anywhere in that area could exceed 4 feet. So from the center of the house is when dealing with a house that's facing the narrow dimension street frontage, and then if you can have a fence that goes towards the street frontage along the long dimension street frontage if the house doesn't face it. So that's not applicable here. It's just the narrow dimension required front yard street frontage. So sorry for the confusion.
Okay. It's just every time I read this, it's just trying to figure it out. Hard to figure out which is what. Is there any other questions of staff?
No.
No.
Okay. I see we have the applicant on line, and would you wish to make any comments?
Nope, I was just participating in case anybody had any questions for me.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak in favor of the request? Hearing or seeing none, is there anybody on the line that wishes to speak against the request? Okay, hearing or seeing none. If there's no further questions, I'd entertain a motion. Don't everybody speak at once.
I'm muted and I said I'll do something, sorry. Okay. I move that the request by Aaron Hageman for a variance to allow for an 8-foot privacy fence in the required front yard in an R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 718 Progress Avenue be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area. The fence does not appear to have any site visibility issues for motorists traveling east on Crossway Drive or south on Progress Avenue. 3, the fence would not extend closer to the street than the existing home to the west at 3913 Crossway Drive. Staff has heard no objections to the request.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further comments or questions?
That was April that seconded.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of the request?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Aaron, your fence can be built.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you for your service, Aaron.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, thanks. Is there any discussion items?
No, thanks for getting the new rules on the sheet, guys.
Yeah.
Staff.
Yeah, we kind of forgot about it this month, but we will add that to the agenda, just like we do P and Z next month.
Okay.
So it'll be there every month. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great job. Thanks again.
Yeah, I do have one probably off topic question or comment. I know that we talked about signs not being on or not being associated with a building. In other words, if a building had been vacant or torn down, the sign could only be up for a certain amount of time. Is that correct?
yeah, so if you have a business that goes out of business, in the ordinance, I can't tell you what the amount of time is, but there's a certain amount of time that you have to at least take the signage down or at least remove the plastic facing. There is a time limit where you have to have that removed.
Yeah, I don't have the ordinance in front of me either, but there's a one time frame, a shorter time frame for the cabinet, and then a longer time frame, I think like maybe 180 days for the rest of the sign if it's, like freestanding.
Well, I guess in particular, I'm talking about a sign at the corner of Kimball and San Martin that was the old Prestige Cleaners
Oh,
sign.
Oh yeah.
And I just wondered how that hasn't not come up as a code violation.
well, I think they have definite plans for redevelopment there. That's probably why they haven't been pressured much. But we can definitely look into that and make sure that project that we've talked about a year or two ago is still going to happen. If not, in the next year, then maybe we can push the issue of removing the sign.
Well, at least the insert into it.
Right.
Hey, Chris,
Yes.
they've been in violation of their development agreement. They're way past when they were supposed to get moving forward in that area.
Yeah, thank you. I thought so, but I couldn't remember the dates, and so nothing's happened. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, maybe we need to address that.
I've talked to Noel on a number of occasions regarding that property because I've had a number of complaints because they haven't been following through with their development agreement. Just so that, I mean, if they want to push forward on that sign issue, maybe we should,
Okay.
And I apologize for interrupting, but
No.
That's
I
fine.
just want to be clear that development agreement so far is going nowhere, at least with Noel. Thanks.
No, that actually helped. I didn't realize they were way past. Okay.
All right. That's all I had. Anybody have anything else?
I was wondering about the little store on the corner of Fletcher and 63 that still has their.
Yeah, April, Chris here. I contacted them. I have a letter prepared to send out to remind them of that they're in violation, and to remind them that their landscaping is due, I believe, this coming spring of 2021. They said they were going to get that fixed. They're just going to probably put another layer of white, whatever that is, over it to make sure that you can't see liquor on that sign. So they're aware. They're going to get it fixed. And you know how it works. It's too cold now. I'll do it in the spring.
Mhm.
That's what you get. So
How long have they been in violation?
Eric, let's see, what was the last time they got a special permit and a liquor license? It's been maybe about a year, Eric.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. They were issued a letter noting the signage had to be removed and provided a time frame to do that. Yeah, I'm guessing at least a year.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a fix. It's just their fix wasn't deemed
Right.
acceptable because it's.
Yeah, they did respond and addressed it. It just didn't work. You can still see liquor.
The landscaping and all of that was brought forth before council has been since I've been on the council.
Right.
So I think it was late or earlier to late this spring
Right.
that all that was brought up. And then they have till the end of this season to get their landscaping done.
Correct.
I see.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, is any,
My head, no, but you can't see me.
we couldn't see it. We couldn't see it shaking your head.
Sorry.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good week.
Bye.